Okay, so last one for the first half, we have Jibble Hartster from CIMG0851, Crisis Mapping in African Food Security. Okay, it'll be up soon. Hey, got some extra seconds.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Jibble Hartster. I'm with CH2M which is a big private sector engineering organization. I'm personally based in Seattle, and I want Andrew to pick up the first slide here.
Hey.
Okay. Great, so I'm going to talk about, I figure 5 minutes, that's plenty of time. I can talk about 2 completely different topics, and that's what we're going to try to do, crisis mapping and African food security, but I'm also going to talk about CH2M and where these two sort of join up. As I said, I'm based in Seattle, and CH2M, my company, we have a long history in security and crisis mapping around the world, mostly based in the United States. We do big Defense Department contracts, big Homeland Security contracts. We build sophisticated mapping systems. This is an example of where we're doing imagery and building maps around the world at all the Air Force bases. So it's really a global effort. If you think about an Air Force base, it's actually like a small city. It's very complex. They have lots of assets. They don't know where they are. They're in various states of depreciation. So we build these big operational views. It's fires and readiness, and we think about Air Force bases in Korea and so forth that have to be operational readiness at all times. We build these big systems that communicate each other, or mesh networks and so on that are super secure. We have sensors, and we build big operational command and control structures with lots of screens and lots of people sitting in rooms, lots of people managing drones, lots of data, lots of inputs, very expensive, lots of interfaces, lots of maps, very complex screens as you can possibly imagine what these folks have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that's just one component of the things we do, so sort of on the big international scale. But we also bring it down to a more local scale, so that, a lost child reporting system, for example, is very, it's maybe a crisis not for the global community, but for that individual family and the individual community. It's as big as a crisis that can happen. Groove is got bought by Microsoft recently. It's a big secure system that's also being used for hurricane management in Florida. Obviously a hotbed of hurricane activity, as we all know. So the state of Florida is actually using some of the systems that we built on very proprietary, very expensive software. But that's great, but I'm not going to talk about all that, because that's really, it's important that these systems exist, but that's not what I'm passionate about. I'm going to talk about food security in Africa. I'm going to talk about the Ag Commons program, which was that I've been working on for the last 2 years now. It's really, when we think about food security, our program is focused on agricultural research and helping the smallholder farmers, but when we think about food security, it's a slow-moving crisis. But we know it's coming. We know it's going to be an issue, and we're always surprised when it actually happens. It's very location specific, right? So they say there's 10 million people starving in Kenya. Well, I was in Nairobi, I didn't see 10 million people starving, so we know that it's happening somewhere. We don't exactly know where, but if you think about commodity prices, crop production, weather, rainfall, conflict is really the one we can't predict. Within all those components, we can think about there's actually data for those things. People are actually producing information. You know that it's there, but nobody's actually aggregating it just to a single platform. You can actually draw some conclusions from it. I'm not sure why exactly. And maybe if we did that, it wouldn't be such a crisis. So here's one example of something called TradeNet. This is happening in West Africa, and these people aggregate commodity prices, which people on SMS out in the regional markets record in the prices of maize and rice and beans on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. Here's another one in Uganda, and this is actually spreading. These people have commodity prices every day. We know it's coming. We know we can look at the fluctuations in commodity prices. We can sort of predict what the prices is going to be 6 months down the line, or 2 weeks, or a year. So there is a platform that's actually doing this. It's based here in the U.S. USAID is doing this through FuseNet, and I looked at FuseNet and I said, well, the UI is horrible, the data is terrible, but apparently I was actually in Africa, and there's lots of people using this and depending on it on a day-to-day basis to plan their operations in the future. Harvest Choice is a program that's also based at IFPRI here in DC that's aggregating crop models, and they're doing this not for just one country or 2 countries, they're doing this for the whole world, and they're really focusing on Africa as a modeling platform for passing disease. And my theory is if we can take the passing disease information, commodity prices, and so on, we can aggregate it up, we can come up with a really unique platform. We can take some of this information, take it offline, and distribute it out to the communities where it's actually going to make a difference, and also aggregate it up to the global level where it's really going to have a dramatic impact across the world. So why isn't this happening? Is there a business? Well, I think there is. Can the private sector do this? Maybe. But at Commons, what we're going to try to do is we're going to launch an African-based startup. We're going to try to tackle this. We're betting that this can work. So we're going to build APIs into the local information where we can get, we're going to promote community involvement, community mapping via OpenStreetMap and other avenues. We're going to look at new approaches. We're going to use Twitter. We're going to use Facebook. We're going to use these integrated social networks. We're going to be in Africa. We're going to be local. We're not going to try to do it from the US. Anyway, I'm out of time. Anyway, I'm Jubal Hartford. You can follow us on Twitter. And thank you very much.
Now, I haven't had wine yet, so we definitely need a break now. Seriously, can I get, oh, big light in my face. Everybody back at 25 after on the official clock, back there, and then we'll